That no, that was a weird noise.
What was?
It was like it was like you're right up next to the microphone. You're going like,
Oh, I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the house, or the house burns down.
Welcome back to the Red Right Hand Podcast, a show that covers each and every episode of the Peaky Blinders, and mirrors and camera effects completely elude us.
we are not tech savvy in that sense, I guess.
Like, why does it look like we're touching?
Well, here's the thing about it. I'm the one who's recording, so if we both point to our left,
It's a good
nobody's
10-minute conversation.
Nobody's
trying
gonna
to figure that out.
understand.
All right. We are back for season 3. God damn it. Season 4, episode 3. I'm stuck in season 3 and I'll never leave.
Yeah. That felt like it took a while, actually. Or season 4 is kind of slowly dragging on because we've kind of had some hit and misses here and there. But
yeah. I've forgotten how dirty this season starts to get, like all the essentially just betrayal, just betrayal.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant the sex.
Oh, well.
I was like, what?
Sex is probably no more dirty than usual.
Yeah, it's probably about the same.
But yeah, I mean, before in the seasons, I feel like they could always count on everybody in the family. The family, this is not a Game of Thrones situation where you got to worry about everybody stabbing each other in the back. So
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff I remember, like the main storyline of this season, but there's a lot of things that I've forgotten about.
Well, I mean, I forget I had forgotten what happens at the end of this episode until it actually happened. I was like, oh, I don't remember how this plays out.
Yeah. I don't remember if it's bait or I don't remember exactly how that goes down. I got a lot of places in my notes where I'm like, I'm not exactly sure what was happening here. I think maybe I've got the gist of it, but they don't come right out and tell you certain things in this episode.
Okay. Maybe I can clarify.
Yeah. So the episode starts and Arthur and Tommy are hiring men for one of their factories. Now these guys are basically just scabs, right?
Day laborers.
Yeah, but they're guys who aren't with the unions.
No, they're not with the unions. They don't have a job. They're scabs.
Yeah.
Is that how you put it? Scabs? Scabies?
Yeah, that's what not scabies. That's what union guys always call the guys who basically make it. Yeah, because you're making it, and they don't like those guys because they're
against our cause.
Yeah, they're hurting their cause.
Yeah.
So, which is reason for the guy who decides to throw a Molotov cocktail over the crowd there.
Right. And then proceeds to, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. I should run away now.
You think, no. I love how
it wasn't
every
me.
guy, there's multiple people in this episode who think they're big tough guy. Right. And then as quick as they see what's about to happen to them, they are like, no. So
I didn't mean to.
Yeah. Yeah, the strike is still on, the one that Jesse Eden, the one that she called, and that's just hurting Tommy's businesses kind of all around. A lot of his workers, I'd say most of his workers, are union, so it's hurting him. Michael gets visited by his foster mom.
It'd be foster mom or adopted mom.
Yeah, adopted mom.
Mum.
While he's in the hospital. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying mum
Oh yeah.
because they say it like instead of an O, it's like a U.
Yeah. Um, and she comes and visits Michael in the hospital. Um, he's still recovering from being shot when he and John were attacked. I put down that it's a different actress, I think, right?
I think it's the same one.
Really?
Yeah, as far as I know, it seemed like it was the same one. We can go back and look again, but
I
I'm
thought she
pretty sure it
looked
was the same woman.
I thought she looked different. I thought it was somebody else.
They never gave her name though, did she? Or did they? I don't
I
think
don't
they
think so.
did. Yeah, but as far as I know or could tell, I think it was the same lady.
Yeah. Um she brings in some apples from their orchard, his old home, and she wants him to come back. Um I also thought it was interesting too that she said that she won't be in the same room with Tommy when um Michael told her that he was on his way.
Right. Yep.
I mean, which is fair because he basically came and stole her son away.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she definitely feels well. And then like steal the son away, and then like she said, the reason she was there because she had read about it in the paper what happened to him.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure she blames Tommy, for bringing this for taking him away from her, and then bringing that pain on him basically,
Yeah.
pain and hurt. So
Yeah. Um, and then it's the start of a long episode for me and Polly. Because already like last season I was so done with her crap. And
it's just gonna get worse.
God, it's just building and building and building. It's driving me nuts. Like she knows what this thing has been forever. Their business really hasn't changed that much. They're just making a ton more money and have a lot more legitimate businesses. Like they
Right.
used to kill way more people because they had to, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything had kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. It always drives me nuts in these movies and shows whenever you've got somebody like that who's invested in the group, they've been there for a long time, they know what it is, and then at some point they decide it's like some kind of moral conundrum for them. I'm like, man, maybe you should have thought about that like 20 years ago when this thing started, Not
Yeah.
necessarily 20 years for them, but like at least 10 years or so. Like how I just
People change over time though, man, their way
yeah,
of
but it's
thinking, their beliefs and everything change. But I
yeah,
get I
but
get what you're saying though.
and with Polly, it's just so like
It's annoying.
weird. Yeah, but it's just like weird too. Like it wasn't like she like came to religion or there wasn't some
Well,
like there's almost not like a big reason for this. She's just like worried about Michael and that's it.
yeah.
And like I
Well,
get it,
yeah.
but Tommy also keeps Michael like pretty much out of all the bad positions,
Yeah,
Like it was bad
I
luck
mean,
that he was there with John, but these are like assassins come to kill them.
right. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be, and at the same time, it's like you're not going to be able to protect him forever. He's 18. He's going to do what he wants, you know. But it annoys the fire out of me that when, and she used the line again in when they got to the meeting here in a little while about uh dying, and Tommy had talked about in the last episode about them dying, and basically them dying in the war, and basically everything else is extra, and
Yeah.
it really changed them, blah blah blah. And then it's like now she's like, in this last episode she used the whole thing of being put in the noose and basically being right there next to death as, oh, I'm just like you now. And it's like, no, you're not, because again, that's totally different. So he
Yeah.
uses the line
And they
again of like, I
all
was like right there
also,
execution.
Yeah, and they all went through that experience also. Like she was not the only one that
Right,
happened
yeah.
to.
Exactly. They all had a noose around their neck, besides Tommy, but yeah. And they're all fine. Michael's fine.
Yeah, and what does Alfie Solomon say? When you live by the sword, you die by the
Die by
sword.
the sword, man. Yep.
So, like, yeah, I don't know. She's just driving me nuts, and she's just batshit crazy. She was taking all those pills, like, she's just batshit.
Seances.
Yeah. So I don't know how much longer I can watch all the Polly stuff.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if she'll really be in this next season because, the actress died in
Yeah,
real
I hope
life.
not. I hope not.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll
I feel
find
bad
out.
for the actress. Like that's sad, but I don't want to see another Polly Shelby or Polly Gray in this episode. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
Or in this next season.
Series. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So yeah, Ada's just trying to get Polly under control, trying to keep her from being too crazy at this meeting they're all about to sit down to. The meeting is to reinstate Polly back as company treasurer. Yeah, and it's going to be it's to reinstate her as company treasurer, and then weren't they transferring something over to Michael also, transferring something to Ada?
Oh, I think it was just a deal of like while she was gone, somebody else was doing it, was doing her job, and so
Oh,
they're
okay.
transferring that back to her. And I think it
Oh, okay.
was it Ada? It may have been Ada. I
Maybe
don't remember.
maybe Lizzie.
Yeah. Well, it makes me wonder if it was Lizzie because later on she's there on a Monday morning at the where I don't even remember what we keep calling it, the place where they're placing bets at, and she's talking
I
about
don't know
doing
the book.
inventory. Yeah, the book, and they're talking about doing she's doing inventory and make sure people aren't dipping their hands into it, and then of course she's like, well, I'm back now and I'm in charge, and whatever. So it makes me wonder
Yeah,
if Lizzie may have been doing it, but I don't remember them mentioning Lizzie's name in that transaction.
yeah. She was there though. He's calling everybody by like their titles.
Right, yeah.
Like I can't remember who's head of acquisitions, but that was one
Very,
person he was talking about.
yeah, very fancy names.
Yeah. Um so it's kind of a cut back and forth between this meeting that they're about to have and Arthur. He's supposed to be at the meeting, but he's not.
What's he doing?
He's banging Linda at one of their factories where he has an office.
Yeah.
And he's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of betrayed a little bit. Like he feels like this is just him and her, but she's basically been sent there by Polly to keep him from showing up to the meeting. Tommy narrates the meeting. I put that down because he's talking through like the whole thing. We're transferring this back to the head of acquisitions. Blah blah blah. So he narrates the whole meeting, and then they're going to get down to the real business, which is that they've got more intel on Luca and his men, and they want to outsource the actual kill to Abraham Gold. They don't want Arthur taking the shot and kind of getting in harm's way like that.
Well, and then the whole thing of like tradition of him doing it is they just feel like it'll ruin it because it's just like we just need to take our shot whenever we can get it.
Yeah.
We can't be like, oh, here's my chance, I can do it, but I can't because it's supposed to be Arthur's kill and he's not here right now.
Right. Well, Arthur's the oldest brother, so he feels the need to avenge it. And then also the bullet's already been written.
It's been written, yeah.
So So yeah, they're gonna outsource this to Abramagold. They were just trying to keep Arthur away from the meeting, um, so that um, basically they wouldn't vote against it, because I think they go. It has everything has to be unanimous.
Yeah.
Um, um,
Which
this whole
Ada was
time,
against it.
yeah, and then she voted yes,
Yeah.
and so that was like, it wasn't like they were missing Ada's vote, and he was just like, okay, well, we have enough. Like, he was waiting
Right.
on her to vote. Um, the whole time Arthur was up in the office, there was a guy banging on his door, um, saying that I think basically that the guys who were running their paint shop were going out on strike, right?
Well, they're saying some strikers have broken into the shop and they're throwing paint all around and making a mess. And he thinks that they're throwing the paint around to basically set fire to the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so Arthur goes down there to deal with it.
This has to be like my favorite Arthur scene, probably in the whole series. Just him.
Really?
Well, between not so much the getting the painting guys, but like when the Italian guys come in, he's having to deal with that. And I'll explain why when we get to that here in a second.
Okay. He's going through, he's running people out. Another one of these guys that's too big for his pants. He throws a
I didn't mean
bucket.
to.
Throws a bucket of paint on Arthur, and then when Arthur shows he's going to retaliate, he immediately loses his nerve. Yeah. So Arthur beats him, throws him out, and that's when two Italians come through the back door, which was supposed to be locked and barred, but is wide open.
Yeah.
You said you really like this scene. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I just like it because I don't know. I just the whole thing of it feels like when he starts kind of, they start shooting him at first because he hears him coming in. He kind of sneaks back down a little bit, kind of see what's going on. Then he sees them. They see him. They start shooting at him. And he runs away, kind of hide a little bit. I just kind of feel like there was a moment when I was rewatching it this last time that when he's kind of up there above him, kind of crawling around, and he's got that red paint on him, so it looks like blood for one thing. He just looks like his hair's all a mess. He just looks crazy, all sweaty and everything. And it just made me kind of like feel like for a moment there that it was almost like looking at Arthur during the war, like crawling around, in like a tunnel basically, and having to fight for your life by yourself. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a real genuine moment to me. It seemed like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you think of a better scene with him?
One of my favorites is where they go to take
The
that
London
club
Club.
back from, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Wait, take it back, or no? That'd be the first time they take it.
Yeah,
We're thinking about
not
the
the
same
first
one.
time they go there, but whenever
Right.
he
When
and
he,
Billy Kitchen
yeah,
go to take it. Yeah.
yeah. That's a pretty good one too.
Um,
He shoots one and he drowns another.
yeah, drowns him in the paint after he hit him with that hammer. It was pretty brutal. But he manages to kill both of them. Burns their bodies there.
Burn him.
So Luca knows the two guys didn't come back. He questions another couple of his guys about it. Yeah, I'm basically just saying they're not trying hard enough. Like they don't blend in at all. they look like they're from New York. So they're not able to get the jump on them like they did the first time. It's kind of a fluke thing. If they had all already been together, John probably wouldn't be dead. But
Right, yeah.
because they were so spread out and defenseless, like it was easy for them to get to him.
Yeah. I just like the way that one Italian says his name. Luca. Luca.
Yeah. I like when Luca
Spotted
crams
dick.
that biscuit into his mouth.
Right. Yeah, open your mouth.
But they're gonna try to. There was a woman a couple seasons ago. There's an episode where it starts off and Arthur is boxing with a kid, and he beats him to death, and then they pay the family, and then I don't know if it's that same episode or another one where the mom comes around.
I think it was like the next one.
Okay.
Maybe.
She's really upset. She brings a gun in. She was going to kill him. But I guess they went to that woman and talked to her, and she said that she thought if she called on one of the brothers that they would come, like that they would come around to see what she needed.
Yeah.
So they're talking about using her kind of as bait to get to them.
Luca.
Arthur's waiting for Tommy at his office, and he tells him what happened, about the paint factory, about the Italians. Oh, I like the line he had about he was like, I thought you were he's like yelling at him, he's like, I thought you were dead, there's 15 Italians out there looking for us, and Arthur's just like, no, there's 13. He's like, because I killed 2 of them at the paint shop. Yeah. Yeah, so Arthur explains it. They get into a fight about who's going to make the kill. Arthur just can't let it go.
Ada just had to tell him.
Yeah. So then Tommy, after finding out that there's some kind of leak inside the paint shop. Hold on.
Leak makes it sound like there's like some leaks in the painting. The paint's been leaking in the factory. We're going to have to plug it up. And some other things.
Some leaky pipes in the factory.
When you said that, I was like, okay. There's a leak in the paint factory. You mean like a operative in the factory, or like there's some leaky pipes? Why doesn't he just call a plumber?
There's somebody not loyal to them in there.
Yeah.
So after Tommy finds that out, they bring in, I guess, the manager.
I would
the guy like running the place.
Yeah.
They bring him in, and he's got a train ticket to Scotland.
Glasgow.
Oh yeah, Glasgow.
Scotland.
Yeah. And his wife and children have already been there for 3 days.
Now, why would you be wanting to go to Glasgow?
Yeah. He's basically just running from everything that's happening.
But it's pretty suspicious, though.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
You
look
know,
good.
no.
Like the guys didn't get killed until that day, and he sent his family ahead 3 days before. Doesn't look good.
Just a bad
But Tommy
coincidence.
knows, yeah, but Tommy lets him know that they know where his family is. Um, and so they're kind of keeping tabs on them.
It was interesting to me that they knew, like, I'm just trying to think if he meant like other gangs or just like maybe some police up there or whatever in Glasgow that
He
like
did
were
say
they're
gangs.
friends with him. Okay, I couldn't remember if he said gangs or not. It's just
Yeah, he
interesting to me
said
is like
gangs.
how did you come across those people? You know.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so they're keeping tabs on the family and they're gonna keep him there. He begs to leave, but they're not gonna let him do that.
Please,
Yeah.
please, Mr. Shelby. You need to work on
Um,
your groveling, man.
Tommy goes to see Jesse Eden after that. Um, so I guess the first thing I didn't really get in this scene was how, like, what was he talking about? He's got a badge and he's a
I
constable
don't.
now. Like, was that all
Yeah, I
fake
don't.
or was that
That's
like,
I don't know. That's why I've always tried to figure out. I was like, wait, was that real? Did he just go down to the local Kinkos real quick and print himself up a badge?
yeah, yeah, I
I don't
don't
know
know.
because I, but then at the same time, every time when she looks at the badge, I mean, it looks pretty real, and then I think about the connections that he has, in the whatever government or whatever, with Churchill and everything. So I
Yeah,
don't know, man.
yeah, I'm not sure what that was about. But that's how he's basically going to try to get her to cooperate with him. Um, the manager of the factory told Tommy that there were, it seems like a weird piece of information to have, but if there were two Italians at a someplace communist meeting.
Well, but he told him before that. He's just telling him straight up. It's like, I know that you have a lot of enemies. And, he starts naming minorities off or whatever. I guess you really want to
Well,
say.
he just said
He
Italians and
goes,
communists.
okay. Well, I can't remember if there was another one,
No.
which we obviously know there's others, but yeah. So yeah, and then he said something about there was a union meeting the other night, and there were two. Um, was it two Italians or just one?
Yeah, he said two.
Okay, two Italians there, and so yeah, the Stetchford, is that what they're calling it? Stetchford Communist Party Union,
Yeah, something
something like
like
that.
that.
Either way, she's with it.
Yeah. Um, and Tommy wants help finding these guys, so he's brought her a picture of a bunch of Luca's family. It was like a family picture, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was from a wedding back in. I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure they said, but anyway.
Yeah. So he shows her the picture to try to get her to point out anybody that she might have seen there. But then it just kind of turns into them jabbing at each other because she knows a girl that was the sister of a girl that Tommy was in love with before the war. And so she starts just kind of poking at him, like saying how she knew he used to be a different person before the war. She asked him if it was true that he joined the Communist Party before the war. Um, she's done some pretty thorough research on him. But then Tommy also like always has to let you know that he's done just as much research on you, if not more, and finds out that the man that Jesse Eden was in love with went off to the war also. And when he came back, he was listed as shell shocked and killed himself at some point after that. So he just kind of leaves her with that and the picture and tells her to get in touch, if she recognizes anybody there. I think he said, "Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting your dance." She was dancing by herself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting your dance.
She ends up burning that photo too. Makes you wonder
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. I mean, she could be, I don't know. I don't remember how deep this all goes.
Well, I mean, my thing was like, I feel like there was almost two roads there where I'm burning the picture because I'm not going to tell you, and I don't want to look at it anymore, or I'm burning the evidence just in case somebody tries to trace it back to me or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Arthur goes home. He's pretty drunk. He fights with Linda. He's really torn up about them making this decision without him. He feels betrayed by his wife.
I'm a businessman.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on there. Arthur's kind of messed up anyway, and then now they've gone behind his back and done all this stuff.
As if he wasn't messed up enough already.
Yeah. But I did like the line from Linda when she's trying to calm him down, and she says the world is changing. Like these things are changing. We don't have to do all the things we did before.
Yeah.
For them, it's you don't have to pull the trigger on every one of these. Like let somebody else take the burden and the risk.
Yeah.
But Arthur's still just pretty messed up from all of this. Like you said, Jesse Eden burns the picture. We're kind of getting a little montage here of a few different things. Yeah. Jesse Eden burns the picture. Tommy at his home. Arthur at their home. Everybody just kind of where they're at right now, which is not a good spot. Next morning, Arthur fires the bullet and basically just to get rid of it.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, just to get rid of it like Linda wanted him to.
She said, do it.
Yeah.
Ultimate power.
So I don't remember why, but Arthur's taking the day off work that next day, probably just because he's super unstable. Linda goes into work. She's going to take bets over the phone. And since Arthur's not going to be there, Tommy put Finn in charge for the day. Which they all have a good, they all have a good laugh about. And then it was just like it all escalates so quickly. Like she's like, let's give him the boss a first day he'll never forget. And then it goes immediately to Tommy's office where Lizzie's coming in to tell Tommy that Polly and Linda found out that he was a virgin. So they were setting him up with a call girl, basically.
Lady of the evening.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tommy takes, this is all just kind of like a weird timeout from all the danger that's happening around them. But Tommy takes Lizzie to a spot where he used to go with the girl that he was in love with, that Jesse Eden mentioned. And they bang. A lot of banging in this episode.
Well, it was funny to me because she was, when they were just sitting there, just kind of in, silence for a little bit. She's like, are we waiting for somebody? And then she says something, I'm freezing, and I always thought, I'm freezing. Let's get naked. Well, why not?
Yeah. Tommy tells Lizzie that, what was it, two? Are they doing 2 or 3 more? He wanted to increase their profitable donations by 25%.
Yeah.
But then he also he's opening 2 more houses for, I think he said, wayward children. He says that he made a promise to someone that he'd change the world. He'd do something for the betterment of people. I guess he's talking about Grace, probably.
Probably so. No, well, no. No, he's talking about whatever her name is. Was it Ketty? Hetty? The girl from the picture. His first love.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Jesse Eden had told him that, when she was talking about what he was like before the war, that, he believed in stuff. He believed in, making the world better and everything like that. And that's when she brought up, join the Communist Party. And she even said some story about him seeing a guy beating his horse, so he beat him up or something like that. Just a bunch of craziness like that. But yeah, it was her, because that's why he went to that spot, was like you said, because that's where they used to meet all the time when they were going steady.
Yeah.
Or whatever they used to say. But yeah, I don't know. I always think of when I see this scene when they get done banging and he's just like, hey, I want to increase by 25% these charitable contributions, yada yada. I always think of George Costanza when he's got that secretary when he was working for the Yankees and they start having sex in their office.
You a raise.
Exactly. That's always what I think of. It's like sex just does something to a guy. He's like, I got to give more money to somebody.
Finn comes in and talks to Tommy.
And Tater climbs up onto the desk.
God. Yeah, he's gonna knock these. There's scissors up on top there.
What? Why do you have scissors up top?
For some of sewing stuff.
Oh, it's kind of a weird spot. You have drawers, man. You have drawers. Put them in the drawers.
Yeah. So yeah, Tommy talks to Finn for a minute. He basically just tells him it's time to man up a little bit. Finn says he doesn't want to have sex with a whore again.
I had to apologize her. She looks so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Tommy just basically tells him it's not really about that. It's more about the fact that John's gone and Finn's going to have to step into this role,
Yeah.
This is our old friend Adobe.
Yes. Anyway, we're good now. We're good. This break was brought to you by Adobe Flash Player.
It'll blind you in the middle of a podcast session.
Right.
God. Yeah, the scene's really just about Finn stepping into John's role, though.
Right.
There's a vacant slot and it needs to be filled, Tommy says.
And we've seen a couple of, I could probably count 3 instances now where you're kind of seeing that he's stepping up to the plate and they're trying to move him up. Where one, he was Tommy let him take a seat at the table, and then of course Arthur welcomed in too, and then the deal with in this episode about taking charge of the book for the day. And then now
Yeah.
this whole talk, of like, you got to be a man, you got to step up to this spot that's vacant and live up to the person that was there before, basically.
Yeah. Thank God this is the last season where Finn has terrible hair.
Terrible hair. Doesn't he
Yeah.
always have the same hair?
No, it's better next season. Next season, it's like
Mhm.
really crazy looking.
I guess
If I remember
I'll just
right,
have to
because
wait.
in this one he's got it like cut super weird and
No,
or
I
no,
don't.
it's
Is it like that? I don't think it was like that in this episode.
oh
I
yeah.
thought he had it. I'm about to lose it on Adobe, man. I'm saying I'm about to write the president of Adobe a letter of grievance and
I'm sure
anger. He'll get right back
give a
on me,
shit.
right? If I get anything, it'll be some automated message. Dear customer, we are very concerned with your complaint, whatever it may be.
So Polly goes to some kind of club. Might be like a hotel bar type thing. And she's meeting Luca Changretta.
Luca.
And she tells him that I mean, it sounds very cut and dry. Like it doesn't sound like she's setting something up, but she says to take Tommy and spare Michael, Arthur, and Finn.
Hell, at first she sold Arthur and Finn down the river at first.
Did she?
Yeah. She basically said, I don't care, you can have them. And then they were kind of talking a little more, and then she was basically like, if you just take Tommy, then just spare the rest of us. You just want Tommy. Because he's the one that, ordered the kill and whatever.
Yeah.
He basically she told him that he wanted his mom killed too.
Yeah.
And that others had pity on her and such. So
yeah. And that's how they leave you on this one. They leave you thinking that Polly is about to betray the family.
She's dancing with the devil.
Yeah. Yeah, Luca asks her to dance and she says she doesn't dance anymore. And when she walks away, he says, that's a pity because you're dancing with me.
Ooh. Why does she like to get involved with the villain?
It's the danger.
It's the danger. Ooh.
Well, that's it. That is it for season 4, episode 3. What was the title of this one?
Blackbird.
Do
you know why? Or do you even know where that? I mean, the record that Jesse Eden was listening to, the song was called Blackbird.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well.
All righty.
We'll be back next time with season 4, episode 4. We're coming back with season 4, episode 4.
I sound more robotic.
Season 4.
Episode 4.
Until then, at this point, nothing else matters. Just make sure that you're following us on Spotify and Anchor, or if you listen on Apple Podcasts, why don't you do that to yourself? Just get a Spotify and or YouTube. If you're not watching us do this thing, what are you doing? You're not
Oh.
seeing Tater. You're not seeing me get up randomly to have to let them in and out.
Uh,
You're missing out here. So make sure you go over
you
to
could
YouTube.
potentially you could potentially be missing out on scissors falling on top of his head. So
Yeah,
what a bloody sight that would be.
Potentially.
It's a
Not this
50-50
week,
shot.
maybe next week, but yeah.
Will it happen next week? Comment in the
Maybe.
video below.
You could only know by going over to YouTube and following Is Survived By Productions, or just looking up the Red Right Hand podcast. And
It's as
make
simple
sure
as that.
It's that simple. It's very
It's
simple.
easier. It's
It's-
easier than 1, 2, 3.
Very easy, especially if you can't count.
Or 3, 2, 1, or 2, 1, 3, or 3, 1, 2. Even for dyslexic people, it's easy.
All right. Well, until next time, we'll see you.
Bye. Okay.